Good afternoon and welcome to this first of 5 T20 internationals between South Africa A and Zimbabwe 11.
Good afternoon, and it's exciting. Dalton Matambana, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Larry Kurirai.
And ever so in the privilege of getting to watch cricket here, thanks to the boards of Zimbabwe Cricket and Cricket South Africa, we get to watch some really entertaining cricket here at Harare Sports Club. Of course, the one-day format ended in the one-day format ended in a 2-1 to South Africa A.
Some really good performances on both sides. I think one of my favourites, Westy Madewere, some really good touch, 35 of 22. Milton Shumba got to into the 40s twice, including in the first game that Zimbabwe won. And Tanaka Chiwanga got 3. His first in that at that level of cricket in the final game. And Doniti Ripana had a really good knock. At one stage, Zimbabwe 11 looked like they might win that third ODI, and they lost by about 40 runs. But anyway, today it's John bowling to Wesley Madewere from the city end.
Of course, the big news for Zimbabwe is that Craig Irvin, the T20 national team captain, is in the squad, is starting today.
So he should slot into that side around probably around about batting number 3, number 4.
Maybe number 3. That's his preferred position. Probably also Shini's best at for Zimbabwe. Probably the best number 3 we've had of his generation.
Seen South Africa, eh? Slight change in kit. We were in greens in the 50 over series, and then they're wearing yellow tops today.
Another change for Zimbabwe is Elliot Masuku. We're talking about him. The Tuskers bowler who did very well in the domestic tournament, domestic T20 tournament, and across all formats, was thereabouts in the top wicket takers, is in. And also Royal, the big hitter from out there in Midlands, plays for the Rhinos. Had a good start to the T20 tournament domestically, but ended up suffered an injury and had to sit out in a couple of matches. So after the first over, Zimbabwe 11 are 1 without loss.
And taking up the South African A attack from the golf course end is Clinton Stuurman. Wesley Madewere on strike. We see a little bit of away movement for him immediately. Wesley Madewere is usually really strong in that area. Really drives well through the cover and even just a little bit in front of point. When he saw that, his eyes lit up, but just a little bit of nibble away.
Stuurman just not allowing Westy Madewere to do much of the ball. It's pitched nice and full. So it has to dig it out almost.
It's a really good length, that second delivery. And first one, we see it go away a little bit. And then he's brought the length back and swung it in to Wesley Madewere. We see already that he gets the ball to move both ways. that one's left Wesley Madewere looking to hit it on the up. Hit it on the rise in front of point, it looked like. Stuman's got another one past the outside edge. I don't know if the pads. It's probably going to run away all the way.
And that is Zimbabwe's first boundary of the match. Coming off, Bias just coming off his waist. Zimbabwe won't mind that. Wesley Madewere had been, I'd say, a little bit struggling with the deliveries. Struggling is a good term.
I think he's got a couple of ones, but you always get that at the beginning of a match when the ball's new, hard, and still has that sheen and swings around a little bit. And that's another really good delivery. It's really hit the deck quite hard, quite firmly as Stuman. Be interesting to see is where Stuman starts with to Caetano. We saw in the 50 overs cricket, generally the South Africans bowled very straight and full at Caetano when he first arrived at the crease. Tends to shuffle across the stumps a little bit. And there's often a chance for an LBW. She gets right in front of off stump. So it'll be interesting to see where he bowls this first delivery. And that's short. And Caetano missed out at the end of the second. Zimbabwe 11 on 9 for none. Bjorn Fortuin continues from the city end. Knocked over Wesley Madewere in the last one-day international. Went through his defences and bowled him, but that's a really good shot, and it's gone all the way. He's just got a little too straight to Wesley Madewere, and he's played a really exquisite shot. He's got underneath it. Two men on the leg side behind square are inside this 30-yard circle. He just had to clear them. He's hit it really, really well.
Yeah, after getting bogged down in the last over, Madewere says, I am going to get on with this match. Really picked that up quite early and was able to complete that shot, a sweep shot. It's the kind of thing that I think the coaches want to see, some sort of urgency going into the run rate. If you struggled with the other bowler, have a go with the other one.
It's a really, really fine shot. And then now he's given himself room to the leg side to try and access that area on the offside. Fielder is in at mid-off. Didn't quite get the exact he was looking for, did Wesley Madewere. He's not going to let Fortuin settle. Again, we see he's just a little too straight. It's Bjorn Fortuin. He wants to be hitting off stump. At the moment, he's got a couple that have gone down the leg side. And he was allowed to get away with that one by Takuzwanashe Caetano. And that's the line he's got to be bowling. Just the one, usually, from that. And that's it. It's got him out. It's looking to get the ball over the offside. It's Wesley Madevere. It's got a really soft dismissal. He's out for 10 and Zimbabwe 11 for none. For 1. You better at the crease. He's current Zimbabwe captain at this T20 level. That's Craig Irvin. Won't be capped skippering this side. This Zimbabwe 11 has been given to Sikandar Raza for both formats. Good to see him back. And Reds?
Absolutely, especially with the Namibia tour just coming up in a few weeks, as well as the Afghanistan tour, and of course the big one, that is the qualifier. You need to get some games in.
That's a good way to end the third over. 17 for 1. Clinton Stillman is just going to get the one. As there's another bowling change. There's a first bowling change from the golf course end. Lazard Williams has bowled well throughout the ODI series. He's going to have his first crack in this T20 5-match series. And that is a beauty from Takudzwa Kaitano. When Clinton Stillman first bowled at him, I was talking about guys bowling full and straight at him. That is what Lazard Williams has tried. But Kaitano, really expected that. He's just played a glorious drive over Wadish Miron. And he calls Craig Irvin through for a quick single. Seen a change of field. Third man's been brought out and that man pushed onto the backward point boundary. It's known about Craig Irvin. It usually takes him a little bit of a while to get going. Once he's gone through the first couple of overs, really fine striker of a cricket ball. Generally plays quite orthodox cricket shots. Hits the ball well and really good at gapping, finding the gaps in the field. Slower ball bouncer. Just going to continue mixing it up as Zimbabwe Williams. And at the end of the fourth, it's 22 for 1. You've seen it looks like Glenton Sturman's been changed ends, running in from the city, and then that is a tremendous cricket shot from Gaetano. It's drifted onto the pads as Sturman, and he's hit it onto the embankment. Good 75-80 meter hit. It's a nice quick call from Craig Irvin. So a little bit of hesitation from Gaetano, but Irvin had committed, and it was his call. He was more dangerous of the two ends. Again, we see a change of pace, slower pace off to Craig Irvin. It seems like the order of the day today. We saw in the last over, Zimbabwe Williams, of the 3 balls he bowled at Craig Irvin, 2 were pace off, and then Glenton Sturman, the first delivery he bowls at him, has taken the pace right off. That's a little bit quicker. That allows Craig Irvin to get off the mark. So it makes me wonder if this is a plan that the South African A side have worked out at Craig Irvin. Just make sure you keep the pace right off. That's the attempted slow ball bouncer. Didn't quite get it right. Did Sturman. It's called wide. First extras of the day. Sorry, there was Larry's just pointed out that there was a leg byes. It's the first boundary of this in this innings. You see him go over straight to Carl this time. Does Kitakuzwana Gaetano. He's really eyeing that leg side. Gets his second boundary in this over. And he's moved to 19 of 12. You see, we saw the way he shuffles across in the 50 overs cricket. Got him into trouble a couple of times.
Absolutely did. I think he does cause a little bit of uncertainty for himself when he does that sort of thing.
Right now, it seems to actually be really good for him. Really allows him to access the leg side. So, at the end of the fifth, 35 for 1. So Lazard Williams it is, who's going to continue from the golf course end. Just the 5 from his first over. You see Craig Irvin has decided I've had enough of a look. It's time for me to try and assert myself on this game. Lazard Williams has done well. He's just brought the length back.
It's a great day for cricket here at Harare Sports Club. A bit cloudy, but not going to bother people. We have any risk of rain. No rain expected, actually. There's Williams, I think, put off by the first intent that Craig Irvin had when he walked down the wicket. Craig Irvin missing that delivery. But if you are around Harare Sports Club, got a bit of a crowd already building up, just come through, make sure you have your vaccination card, and you can come and watch the cricket that's happening here. Certainly had an exciting week of cricket, festival of cricket I'll call it. So you just come through and watch some cricket. There's a big shout there. Lazard Williams, but umpire Stanley Gogwe is not interested.
No, my first instinct was that it might have just been carrying on past the leg stump. And that's been given 4 leg byes. He saw the shot that Craig Irvin was playing. He was looking to get that over a straightish mid-wicket, which was probably sliding into those legs. Probably and then past the leg stump. And that's off the pads. And that's bowled Craig Irvin for 1 of 9 deliveries. Zimbabwe now 40 for 2. Zimbabwe 11 captain Skandaraza comes striding out. 40 for 1 is the score. Really, really important phase of the game that he comes in for. 2 early wickets the Zimbabweans have lost. And it's really important that he's there long enough to get Zimbabwe towards that sort of 200-ish. 170 plus towards 200. A lot of time to bat in this T20.
Absolutely, and losing 2 wickets in the power play is not the best start that you want to have going, but they'll be comfortable with the run rate as is. But losing those 2 early wickets certainly puts the proverbial cat among the pigeons. They've still got quite a bit of batting, but they'd like to see, especially the likes of Wesley Madere, see out a lot more overs, as well as, of course, Craig Irvin got beaten by the pace. So had been mistiming it quite a bit, swinging and missing. Perhaps not quite acclimatized to these bowlers as he's been sitting out the Zimbabwe 11 matches. Lazard Williams bowls to Sikandar Raza.
That's a nice little delivery to start. Rolled it straight and it's just shaped away a little bit. Sikandar Raza found the leading edge on that one. Looking to play it quite straight but through the leg side. He squeezed it away. Really good start for the South Africans. 2 wickets. And then the bouncer. Every single dot ball counts here. It's been really well thought out. Started with a good length ball. And then he's folded it up. Bouncer, decent bouncer. Sikandar Raza doesn't really play the pull shot. Not until he's been there for quite a long time. He's not going to play it to the second ball he faces. It's a really good cricket. And then you see why. Not really his shot. And that's the end of the 6th, 40 for 2. Another change of bowling from the City end is Gerald Coetzee places Glenton Storman. Another wicket here, I think, would be the Henrik Claessen's goal here. You see Taikano just pushes it to wide of middle for the single. Henrik Claessen would be really happy if they could find another wicket here.
What do you think of the decision to bat first by the Zimbabweans?
Well, I don't know. Thinking seems to be always generally to bat second in T20 cricket. It mostly says that is the idea is your opposition will be the one to tell you how to play, what's a good score on a wicket. I think we saw that they're really heavily reliant on spin. I think they're just hoping that having batted first, give the wicket as much time as it can to just deteriorate a little bit, and then allow those spinners. Wesley Madavere is going to be one. We saw Wellington Masakadza bowl very, very well in the one-day series. And there's that pull shot. It's gone. Takudzwa Nashika Itano is 20 of 15. And Zimbabwe 42 for 3.
So just a quick aberration on my part. South Africa, were the one who won the toss and decided to bowl first. And as you said, the wisdom in cricket at the moment is, in T20, is to bat second.
So it's Milton Shumba gets off the mark immediately. Puts that ball down to third man.
Nice little clever punch down. It's between the fielders. It's Gully. Sort of like fourth slip position.
That's interesting. We've seen already just four deliveries, from Gerald Coetzee. And he's been bowling it into the wicket, really pitching it up. Pitched the first one bowled to Kuzwanasi Kaitana, first ball of the over. And then the three have been back up a length, forcing the batter onto the back foot. Wicket with the second one. Third delivery, which was Kaitana pulling. And that's the bouncer to Skandaraza. At the end of the seventh, 43 for 3. All-rounder Jason Smith comes into the attack from the golf course end. Zard Williams bowled 2. The 1 wicket out of Craig Irvin. We've seen so far, 4 seamers by the South Africans and Bjorn Fortuin. Single spin option. So far, the results are saying they might have been right about this. Might have the right balance for this wicket. 2 wickets falling to the seamers. All wickets falling to the seamers. A long way up and into a gap. Milton Shumba just going to
sort of kind of shots you want to make. I think you were talking earlier about how Wesley Madevere went out. Similar kind of delivery, of course, a different type of bowler, but one that if you have, that you should punch at, you should hit. And that was a safe shot because it was falling into a vacant area. Probably gone a bit too high.
Didn't quite time it right. I don't think did Milton Shumba. I think you're absolutely right. Can't just come in here and let this run rate get too far behind. I think score around 170, maybe even closer to 200. Probably the minimum is around about 170. Could be defendable here. Ideally, I think you want to get it closer to 200. But, already in the 8th over of the game. 12 after this one.
Certainly with Sikandar Raza in the middle there. See a lot of the running, a lot more variation in types of shots that will be played. I think if you look at certainly in the instance of West Madevere and and the over in which Craig Over trying to play too many shots. If you're not getting the shots away, maybe punch it down. Because if you end up in a situation you get ones and twos, you can get 8 over and over.
And that is a beautiful shot from Milton Shumba. My word! Let's run down the track to Jason Smith. Doesn't have the pace as the other bowlers before him, but still, this is a really incredible shot.
An absolute beauty, and Zimbabwe go past the 50 mark, and now 53 for 3. Just a beautiful shot that was. And what that does is create a bit of uncertainty for Jason Smith, and the next ball he bowls a wide.
He's decided he's going to grab this one by the scruff of the neck this match. That's a nice, good length to finish up. 54 for 3. Past the outside edge, Gerard Coetzee.
Speaking of some of the players who impressed in the one-day format, he certainly was one. In the one-day format, one-day series between the two sides that took place this past week, certainly a good, nice one for the future for South Africa. Has a nice action and varies his pace with changing his action.
Yeah, and because he's got such good technique, finds a way to take wickets consistently. He got Wesley Madivede twice in that series. And Wesley Madivede is a very important bats in a very important position for the Zimbabwe 11. Got him out for naught in one game, and then got him out for 35 in the other game, where he was really threatening to cut loose.
And just give me an opportunity to tell you about the Zimbabwe Cricket app. It's available on the Google Play Store and iStore. And what you've been able to see this past weekend is the National Premier League that's taking place. There were 4 matches yesterday, and all other matches that happen within the territory of Zimbabwe. So you also get some schools cricket there. You get a whole bunch of cricket that you can find, so bringing you closer to the Zimbabwe game. Of course, this is not the only representative cricket that's taking place at the moment. Zimbabwe A are out in Nepal. And yesterday saw a quite exquisite performance by Tony Manyonga. I'll tell you a bit after this ball.
That's the pull shot. Just the one from it.
Tony Manyonga's exploits yesterday, scoring 50 off 21 balls. Kind of reminds me of a young Elton Chigumbura, the way he was just flaying through the deliveries. And also a half century for Tadiwa Nashe Marumane. Zimbabwe winning that match by 6 wickets. And today's match unfortunately had to be called off because of rain, but there is still one more match in the T20 format. After After 9 overs, Zimbabwe 11 are 60 for 3. Jason Smith continuing from the city end. Bowls again with an puts it in that corridor of uncertainty. Milton Shumba hit him over a couple of times, but that ball cramped up Milton Shumba in his crease and couldn't get it away. Jason Smith, the all-rounder. Yes. South Africa A looking to limit Zimbabwe to as little as possible. Milton Shumba gets that to square leg. Didn't quite time it, so goes to the fielder. Probably wanted to pierce the two fielders that were in place. Bring on Captain Sikandar Raza onto the strike. Batted very well in the one-day format. Got himself a good 80 in one of the matches, leading his side to victory in that match. Beaten by both pace and I think a really good length that Jason Smith is certainly bowling in this over. Would have been disappointed by his first over, which he conceded 11 runs. Probably not the kind of performance he wants by his standard, but all the same showing intent for South Africa.
It's a really beautiful shot from Sikandar Raza. He's run down the track and muscled it wide of long off. You see, because Jason Smith is a little slower through the air, Zimbabwean batsmen are not shy to advance down the wicket to him. And that's another beauty from Sikandar Raza, and he's hit that a long way, a long off. Already, Jason Smith is 11 off this over. Still a 1 ball to go. And he's been given a really great comeback from Smith. Raza out for 16. LBW ball Jason Smith and Zimbabwe 11. 71 for 4. Ryan Burl at the non-striker's end. Going for 10 from the city end. Just gets one past Milton Shumba's outside edge. Shumba's just given himself a little bit of room towards the leg side. There's a shot and should be out. Straight to Reza Hendricks on the boundary. And Milton Shumba has to go for 13 of 12 and 71 for 5. Richmond Mutumbami is the new man in, but he's at the non-striker's end. And Ryan Burl faces his first delivery of this match. And he's off the mark immediately as he nurdles it into the square leg region.
Zimbabwe certainly in a spot of bother. After 10.3 overs, already down to 7-2 for the loss of 5.
So now you've just got to try and just to be competitive here, I think. Probably going to need 90 or 100 runs from here on. Just get to around that 170 we thought was competitive.
Certainly the kind of position that, well, it's not wanted, but if you're Zimbabwe, if you're out there with spots up for grabs, particularly for that qualifier, and of course all sorts of representative cricket that's taking place over the next year or so. Certainly in the case of Richmond Mutumbami, who has not been in the national team squad proper, certainly want to show what he can handle a bat here. So after 11 overs, Zimbabwe 11 are 72 for the loss of 5 wickets.
Reza Hendricks from the golf course end. And he starts with decent delivery. Only the one from it. We were talking the other day about how at 30 you double whatever score a side has at about 30, and in a 50 overs match, that's generally quite a good reflection of what they're gonna, as a rule of thumb. I found that you can do the same from what a side has at about 13 overs. If you double that, but that's usually dependent on wickets in hand. And then you could say that Zimbabwe will probably get to around 150. But I think just one wicket here. The next batter in is probably Wellington Masakadza. Not a true striker of the ball. Really much better at keeping the ball on the ground, finding angles and running hard between the wickets, but not really a kind of batter who clears the boundary consistently. These two guys, though, are both Richmond Mtumbami and Ryan Bill, can hit a ball quite a long way. So now, for the Zimbabweans to get a competitive total, probably comes down to one of these two getting a really good knock today. Getting what probably looks like 50 off about 30 balls. 50, 60 off about 30. And then the idea would be for both of these guys to get 50 off about 30. But it's unlikely. It's usually going to be one of them.
So get over there from Rhys Hendricks after 12 overs. It's 75 for 5.
So the marvellous Larry Kudirai is going to take a short break. And joining me now is Tinashe Chimbambo. Tinashe, Zimbabwe have gotten themselves into what might be difficulties here. Say that South Africa have bowled well enough, but I don't think they've bowled well enough to have Zimbabwe with 5 down. And, not some great shots played.
Absolutely right, Darlington. Very questionable decision making from a few of Zimbabwe batters up to this stage. Like what you were saying about probably doubling your score at 12, 13 overs. I would have thought after the loss of those 3 wickets, Zimbabwe would have wanted to get busier and rotate the strike a little bit more, and try and push a little bit harder at the back end of the innings.
I think the concern there was the quality of bowling at the back end of the innings. So you don't really want to leave too much to do at that stage of the game. As we saw, they've still got Gerald Coetzee, Lazard Williams bowled well at the end of the game, generally bowls well at the end of the game. Those are the two that you're probably going to be facing most of the bowling from at that critical stage. Yeah, I think there was a few too many shots in that innings, in that little period. A couple of pull shots to take.
Is that bowled out?
So it looked like it was in a shout for a stumping.
It looked half a stumping, half a celebration.
Say Richmond Mtumbami was looking to go over. Looked like long on, straight down the wicket. Christopher Piri was not interested. Umpire Christopher Piri
So from here on, Darlington, 13 overs gone for 70 odd. What do you think will be defendable here? Something that Zimbabwe can be comfortable in?
Something defendable here? I think for me, it was always going to be around 170 at a minimum. Because today, this looks like a really, really fine surface to bat on. Good batting surface, it's quite quick. There's not a lot of sea movement. So I would have honestly thought you needed a cushion of something over 8 runs and over. See that Reza Hendricks, just the 3 from his first over. Really important passage of play here. We can get another over in here quickly without going for too many. And that's a good shot from Richmond Mtumbami. A really good shot. What he's done is because Reza Hendricks is bowling from around the wicket. Force you, make it very, very difficult to go straight down the ground. Richmond Mtumbami has had to back away a little bit, get outside the stumps, wait a leg side to get that gap over straight over the bowler's head.
It was a brilliant shot, Darlington. Well thought of. You can see why Richmond Mtumbami is deciding to go at Reza quite early in the over, because he tends to generally bowl slow at the beginning of the over, gives it a little bit of air, and towards the end of the over he just fires it in, and not giving you enough options to get under the balls just like that, into the wicket more. But this is very good cricket from Richmond, a boundary and a single to rotate the strike.
So it can be quite a difficult shot to get away, delivery to get away that. Bowler balls are quite flat and into the wicket. You've got to be really quick on your feet if you want to play the pull shot. Somehow figure out how to pull it, go at it and pull it off the front foot. But it can be, it's been really effective strategy for a lot of spin bowlers in T20 cricket.
Down the ground.
Hasn't quite got it, has Ryan Burl. And that's a really fine catch from Nazard Williams at long on. And Zimbabwe now are 84 for 6. Really wonderful opportunity for Richmond Mtumbami right now. If he can play an absolute blinder here and get Zimbabwe that competitive total, he can find a way to face sort of like 35 balls. So it's probably about if you can find a way to score around about 50 from the sort of 20-25 balls he's going to face probably in this match. He'd all but secure a position in that side for that those T20s against Namibia and then against Afghanistan, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. I think there's lots of spots to be fought for here. He hasn't done his reputation any harm. That innings, it's very gutsy innings in the last one-day international, which was very positive. Could have given him a little bit of confidence to come into this match and spread some good shots already in this particular innings. After 14 overs, Zimbabwe reduced to 85 for 6.
Gerard Coetzee is just one for 9 of the 2 he's bowled so far. So we've seen that there's been a period that South Africa has really, really dominated this game. And it's been around about the time that he's bowled. Just the run rate has really, really dropped to just over 6. Where at one stage, when Caetano was going, it was around about 7.5.
Good positive running and calling from Wellington Masakadza. That's what you need to do in this period of times. Make sure that there's not many dot balls. And it's very good between the wickets is Wellington Masakadza.
There's an intensity he brings to the crease every time he bats. Always looking for quick singles. He's looking to find turn ones into twos. Looking for getting the ball into strange areas on the ground. You can only find with areas that are very difficult to protect. Really thoughtful cricketer.
A lot of deliberate effort to dig it in short to Richmond and to Mami.
I just was having a conversation I feel with Larry. I think of the Zimbabwean batters who are playing in this game today, I think besides Takudzwa and Caetano, there aren't any that I would really can see, and Wesley Madevere are really good pullers of the short ball. And I just think it could be actually a very, very good ploy. Bang it in. This guy's on the back foot. It's a shot you've got to work quite hard on to get consistently well, especially now that guys bowl slower ball bounces. So you've got to sort of wait for the ball before you play the shot. It's not just the instinctive pull shot that that a lot of guys are more comfortable playing.
Good running. Very good running. Just like what you were saying about Wellington Masakadza just looking to sneak in an extra single, an extra run to deep fielders, and Stroman didn't do much wrong there, and Wellington was able to sprint back for the second run.
The key thing is that he's decided, as soon as he's hit that, and I'm going to look for a second here. So he's run the first one, sprinted up towards the city end, and then turned around and taken a few steps before he's called Richmond Tumbami back. So So at the end of the 15th, 91 for 6. See Glenton Stormont back into the attack from the golf course end. Places Reza Hendricks, who bowled really well. 2 overs, 1 for 9. And he starts with a good one to Richmond Mtumbami. What I liked about that is the length. It's a really good length delivery. Wasn't sure to play back or forward to it. And that just kept down a little bit. Which, every single dot ball here is really, really good for the South African A side.
Richmond Tumani asking the question there to umpire Piri just seems to be a little bit behind his head, and he just had to question that. But the positive thing is he's looking at the ball.
As we saw in that one day international, got hit a couple of times in the head. Often what happens when you've been hit on the head a couple of times, you start to turn your way away from the ball. He's seen that was the bouncer, and he's just got down a little bit, just got in down and underneath it. Kept his eye on it as it's gone over his shoulder. And then that's the dismissal. Really, really soft dismissal. Quentin Storman gets his first wicket of this game. Richmond Mtumbami 10 of 14, and Zimbabwe 91 for 7. Ernest Masuku on strike to Glenton Stormont, and that looks like it's been signalled no ball. So, give me no. Sorry, that my mistake. Just a dot from the second delivery. Stillman's bowled. Masuku gets himself into a bit of a tangle.
Very keen player is Enes Masuku. Usually very happy to do whatever he's doing at the time with all of his everything. You see him, he's just not one of the usual tail-enders who would come in and slog one to Kalko now. We're going to try and build an innings. Obviously, there's not much to build with a couple of overs left, but I like the look of him when he bats. Let's go.
Beautiful shot, is it? No, straight to the fielder from Wellington Masakadza. And that is absolutely distraught he is. 5 off 6, and Zimbabwe now 11. 92 for 8.
Men in Tendai Chatara, mainly in the side for his bowling exploits, and taking over from Darlington Matambanadzo is Larry Kwirirai. Larry,
Hello, Tinaji Chimbambo.
all right, how have you been?
Well, it's good cricket being played by South Africa. It's a good day. Got quite a few fans coming in, a lot more than we've had in some of the matches in the one-day format. Probably not, perhaps for the home crowd, not quite the type of cricket they want to see. But I'm just happy that we've got cricket happening.
Absolutely, and I'm quite happy that there's fans. Obviously, today being a workers' day, there's a few more free people than usual. I don't think they would have been impressed by the last hour of cricket they've watched today. I think there's been some very questionable decision making from the bulk of the Zimbabwean wickets that have fallen today. As we look at it, Larry, South Africa haven't really gotten out of second gear in terms of how they've bowled. They haven't been special. I can't quite say there's many batters that have been knocked over. It's been really average cricketing shots and at very weird times as well.
Yeah, that said, it's just been a professional performance by South Africa. Just bowl the right lines and length. Don't try to overcomplicate things. And I think some of the Zimbabwe batters certainly try to overcomplicate things. And certainly a couple of wickets were a couple of batters trying to impose themselves instead of just rotating the strike for a bit. Certainly saw that in the instance of maybe Craig Irvin, might be a bit rusty, hasn't played much cricket for a bit. He's trying to make big shots when he could have just rotated the strike for a bit. But yeah, certainly if you're in the Zimbabwe box in terms of this match, you won't be impressed. Nice short ball there. Ernest Masugu none the wiser, and at the end of the 17th over, it's 93 for 8.
Stearman continues, and that's a brilliant shot from Tendai Chatara. He's just pummeled that over the bowler's head. What a shot. Excitement from the fans. They love it.
It's a nice little punch down from there. Showed his intent right as the delivery was being sent down. Hits that over. It's one of those shots that you know that because no one really has fielders that straight, unless, of course, you're talking of Kieran Pollard. They usually put people over there. You beat if you hit it well enough, certainly goes all the way.
Yeah, it's a lovely shot. Something we haven't really seen a lot of today.
You certainly got a couple of batters who had small starts. Milton Shumba a bit disappointed around when he went out around the 11th over, when he really should have been trying to consolidate Zimbabwe's innings. Perhaps the timing. And what a wonderful catch from Gerard Coetzee. Tendai Chatara perhaps not quite connecting with that ball. Heaves it over and has to go, and Zimbabwe 11 are 97 for 9.
Tanaka Chavanga walks in with 2.3 overs still to bet. That's 15 balls that Zimbabwe need to try and score from. Give this score a little bit of respect. Just a change of field set from the captain here. A couple of fielders in the deep square leg and stretched cow corner, long on. Gives you an idea where Stearman here will be going, probably full and straight. He's done very well, hasn't he, Stearman, with his change of pace. The previous delivery, which tricked Chatara into that fourth shot, wasn't really enough pace for a lower order batter to really deal with. He could only succeed in skying it, and a brilliant catch from Gerard Coetzee, who had a dream tour to Zimbabwe.
Yeah, certainly did. I think bowling's a bit too clever for a lower order batter, but I mean, you can say what we like. Zimbabwe's struggles are down to how the top order batters, certainly the middle order didn't pitch up. So, can talk about the mistimed shot by Tendai Chatara, but in reality, the damage had been done a little bit earlier. And at the end of the 18th over, Zimbabwe 11 are 97 for 9.
$97 for 9 after 18. Lizard William has been brilliant, hasn't he? Nicely fielding by Lesiva. It wasn't really a good solid connection from Ernest, but nonetheless it had to be stopped. He did well to stop it. Talking about 98 for 9, Larry, with 11 deliveries to go. Very underwhelming performance so far from Zimbabwe. They'll need to come and bowl very well. And talking about bowling very well, Lizard Williams has been brilliant. 1 wicket for just 8 runs, costing South Africa 2.4.
It's only one guy who was Zimbabwe even failed to deal with during the one-day series. Certainly was very miserly in terms of the runs he considered, and has been equally miserly in this particular match. Very disciplined bowlers. He's got a good line and length. Bowls a lot into that corridor of uncertainty, and so a lot of the batters have to hunker down, probably defend a lot more than they'd like to. Certainly has troubled the Zimbabwe batters.
Another OBW shout, 10 down by Langton Rousseau. Just seems to probably slide down leg side. But you're very right, Larry. I think Lizard Williams is quite short for a seamer, but he understands his limitation and bowls very much tight on the off stump and doesn't give batters much room to deal with. I think he's done very well here, and as if to sort of curse Lizard that wide, bringing up the 100 milestone for Zimbabwe, much needed. After 9 wickets fallen, 100 runs. It's probably a few of the things that the Zimbabwean fans can cheer up for, and just finally come up.
Yeah, you say it's almost like what the old commentators curse after giving all the praise. Bowls one of those. I think I'll let him go for that if I'm Klaassen. Zimbabwe fans calling for 2 there. Right call from the batters not to run for a second.
Oh, funny, Larry.
I'm not mentioning it to do with run-outs. You got a run-out mate of your own. great running between the wickets from Ernest Masuku and Tanaka Chivanga. And after 19 overs, Zimbabwe 11 are 103 for 9.
That run away for 4. Gerard Kotsia will count himself very unlucky, but Tanaka will be very happy. He won't mind how they come. Important runs for Zimbabwe.
Certainly important runs for Zimbabwe. And at this moment, I guess these two batters are two bowlers for Zimbabwe are going to have to defend those runs, and they're trying to give themselves as many runs as possible. Fortuitous, you'll say, for Tanaka Chivanga, but because he hit it hard, it's wide off the keeper and runs away for 4.
Well, these guys have to try and put as many runs on the board to try and make their job easier. It will not be easy with the slightly strengthened T20 side for South Africa here. Obviously, a couple of changes at the top we might see. Lesiba Ngwehepe coming to open the bet. Quick run, chance for a run out.
Zimbabwe fans calling for every second run they like to.
Quite an interactive crowd. When things are actually going very well, they really understand the game of cricket. It's not always when you get fans that are well vested about the game and understand exactly how it's going. Sometimes just people along for a day out, but this Zimbabwean crowd understand exactly what's happening. Oof.
Perhaps very good bowling from Haralford here. Ernest Masuku making room for himself quite early. And at this stage of the innings, you want to get those dot balls. Yes, the score isn't quite challenging, I want to call it that, and that is what Zimbabwe have made. But at this stage in the innings, dot balls are always welcome.
Moved away.
What a hit!
What a shot. Ernest Masuku. Finally, my fortunes turn a little bit. Lariv, I was giving him a little praise earlier on when he came in. He's a bowler who really takes his batting seriously, and he's hit that out of the ground. Very important runs for Zimbabwe.
He was certainly impressed with himself, doing a bit of a jiggle and a nod. Like, look at that, Tanaka. So they muscled that. A lot of the Zimbabwe batters have been sort of shied away of trying to hit those shots. And he's bowled him.
Short ball followed by a full and straight delivery in Ernest Masuku. We have to go after fighting on for 8 runs off just 13 deliveries. Zimbabwe's inning comes to an end. 114 for the loss of 10 wickets. South Africa will need to come back and chase this total down of 115.
Yeah, absolutely. And just show of appreciation as he was coming off, the Zimbabwe crowd applauding the efforts of Ernest Masuku. Bowled out, but he was trying to do the right thing. But the clever bowling of Ernest Masuku, rather the Ernest of Gerard Coetzee there, first at some point early in that over, moved back quite a bit, and that resulted in a point of if you miss, I hit, and Zimbabwe bowled out for 114 in 19.4 overs.
So at the top of the order, Takuzwa Nashe Kaitano and Wesley Madevere. Takuzwa Nashe Kaitano started like a house on fire, but couldn't continue. 20 or 15 deliveries, a couple of boundaries in there. Wesley Madevere's struggle in the series continues, just 10 runs. And the captain coming back from his break, looked a little bit rusty, just managing 1 of 10 deliveries. Sikandar Raza and Milton Shumba in that middle order, not quite living up to the expectation. And Richmond Mutumbami, Wellington Gaza, Anton Masuku, Tendai Chatara could not contribute with much, and after 19.5 overs, South Africa bowling them out. And Bjorn Fontaine at the top of the bowling for South Africa, 4 overs, 17, 2 wickets. The dot balls column there, very important for T20 cricket, managing 12, means half of the bowling that he delivered today was in dot balls. And Glenton Sturman, brilliant, 4 wickets, 1 made in 18 runs, and 3 wickets, 18 dot balls in there. Lizard Williams, we've been speaking about how good he has been, 4 overs, 12 runs, 1 wicket, 18 dot balls, just 1 boundary. Gerard Coetzee, who continues his success on this tour, going for 26 runs in his 3.5 overs, 2 wickets. Jason Smith struggled a little bit, was hit around 2 overs for 22. Risa Hendricks, not known for his bowling, but he has done so very well in this particular tour, picking up the wicket of Ryan Bell. So in about 10 to 15 minutes, we'll be back with the South African innings, and they will need 115 runs to win. Stay with us.
Welcome back for the South African run chase. 115 is their target. Reza Hendricks and Seba Ngwepe are opening the batting for the South Africa A side. And it looks like it's Wesley Madewere from the golf course end. Not enough on the board for the Zimbabwe 11. Tinashe?
Absolutely, Zimbabwe will be feeling like they are 30, 40 runs short. Obviously, the way they started and that mini disaster in the middle, I thought at that stage, 4 wickets down, 5 wickets down, they still repairable. But then the constant loss of wickets just made run scoring very difficult.
Some really good bowling performances from the South African A side. 66 dot balls they bowled in the Zimbabwe innings, and I think that was the key. There was not many bad balls throughout that knock, and 2 sixes, I think it was in that innings. 3 from one of them was actually off a very good delivery. In the last over, just second to last over, we saw Masuku hit a wonderful pull shot over backward square leg, and that was actually quite a good bounce that he hit. We also saw Haitano hit a 6 over the mid-wicket area. Again, it was off a good length delivery. It was a very, very good delivery, and he played a shot, had to manufacture it to get there. There weren't many bad deliveries. Do you think that Zimbabwe is essentially all Zimbabwe needs to do is rip out a page from the South African performance this morning?
Absolutely.
Series of dot balls. Reza Hendricks on strike. And immediately Madewere gets past the outside edge.
Yeah, very cunning operator is Madewere. Varies his pace very well.
And there's a misfield. It looks like is that Ernest Masuku?
That is Ernest Masuku.
That is just a young man, just starting out at this level of cricket. And he has to learn. He's going to learn very, very quickly. And you cannot let up runs that easily.
Absolutely, but what's more a little bit surprising is the fact that you have one of your best midfielders in Newton Shumba starting at square leg, and you've got a bowler right in a very busy position, especially in this power play where Reza Hendricks will be looking to try and access that offside and pick up boundaries like the one that he just got there. Fine tickle down leg side, doesn't have enough legs.
That's a good start from Madewere. Should be just the 2 runs so far. Just helped the South Africa A by a little bit of misfield. Masuku.
Yeah, with 114 runs on the board, you want to be a little bit more clinical on the field than that. A single to end the over.
7 of that over. And South Africa A 7 for none. find in T20 these days, there's always one bowler for a spinner, one over for a spinner in the power play. And Wesley Madivere bowled that, and he bowled quite well. Should have been less than the 7 that he's gone for. And then from the city end, it's Tendai Chatara. A bit of shape for him there, eh?
Yeah, there is a little bit of shape. The conditions allows them to probably find that little bit of sideways movement. Overcast, the wickets have been generally undercovers for the bulk of this South Africa tour. If you are hitting the same nicely and you've got good basics, you should find a little bit of swing like we found with Stearman earlier.
And Lazard Williams got a bit as well. Looks like Tendai Chatara too. And that's past the outside edge. And that is a really good delivery. You see that Richmond Tumbami took that off a length and he's caught it around chest height. So there is something in this wicket for the bowlers. There is something for the quicker bowlers anyway to use. I don't think it's going to be much here.
And that is a beautiful shot. Full and wide, and Lesiba Ngoepe obliges and slaps that one past point. What a shot, what a boundary.
Not the best Tendai Chatara to delivery. But Ngoepe's still got to put it away, and he's done that in style.
It's going to be very difficult for Zimbabwe to sort of build up any sort of pressure when South Africa only needs to achieve a rate of 5 and a bit and over to get to 115 Darlington.
You're going to have 2 or 3 bowlers working in combination to build any sort of pressure. And fielding is going to be of a much higher standard than what we've seen so far. So it's going to have to be a very good team effort. So you're going to need to get things up almost perfect for 4 or 5 overs at a time.
Earlier on, you were explaining to me how Evan actually taught himself how to throw left-handed when he's actually naturally right-handed.
Yeah, when he was, I think, we're going back maybe to, he's in his late 19 or 20, so we're going back maybe 15 or 16 years. He cut himself on the right hand doing some woodwork at home and damaged some nerves in his hand, so he can't open his hand all the way. And you know that to pick up a ball and throw with it, you actually have to open your hand, get it in, and then throw. And so he had to then learn how to throw with the wrong hand, with his left hand. And took him about a season, I think, to be able to just consistently hit an area. And now he's one of the best arms, I think, on the from Reza Hendricks, and it's gone all the way. Just a little bit of width. As Wellington Masakadza bowls his first delivery, Reza Hendricks is on it in a flash.
Quality cricketing shot, Darlington. Understanding that it's actually a free shot that side of the wicket with everybody in the ring, and Reza Hendricks has got the technical capability to just heave that over mid-off. The left of mid-off, and it's a rude awakening for Wellington Masakadza, who's going to need to be a little bit tighter to the stumps than he was in that particular ball.
Yeah, he's going to have to get it right. And we were saying earlier, to create pressure, it's about 2 or 3 guys bowling well in partnership. So Wellington Masakaza, then Chatara, and then whoever else will replace. And then he's gotten through his defenses. That one looks like he should have gone forward to that as Riza Hendricks. So he's gone for 13 of 8. And Zimbabwe 11 get their first wicket. South Africa A, 18 for 1. Vian Luba is the new man in, but he's at the non-strikers end. Sorry, he is actually on strike.
A bit of a promotion here for Lube, who, after that first few games for South Africa in the ODIs, there was a little bit of an outcry from the South African media about him batting too low and not getting a chance to actually express himself. And he's got a brilliant chance here today. 19 for 1, after 2.2 overs. He's got lots of time to try and prove himself here.
Alternatively, from the Zimbabwean perspective, we actually want to try and use some of that sort of pressure against Vian Luba. Nice shot from Gwepe. Again, it's the line that's made this shot. Masakadze's gone too far outside leg stump to Gwepe. He's played a really good shot to get it down to fine leg for a boundary.
Very good use of angles there by Gwepe, realizing that that ball was going to miss the stumps anyway and just needed to get past the fielder at short fine leg, and he does so with great tenacity.
And then that's the reverse sweep. Other side of the ground. Again, a really good shot.
Again, the line makes the shot, Darlington, like you said in the previous boundary. It's a little bit of too much width for delivery, and it was quite an easy shot. If he misses that one, he's still going to be safe. And he makes very good contact. Gets a boundary. After the end of the third, South Africa moves to 28 for 1.
Wesley Madewere brought back into the attack from the city end this time. Had the just one over for 7 runs. Bowled quite well. That is another really good shot from Vian Luba. Wow, it was not that bad a delivery from Wesley Madewere. And he's just pushed it into the gap at wide of mid-off, sorry. And got that away in some real style.
I can understand why there's been an outcry about him betting too low down the order. That's a shot of real class. It's just a shimmer down the ground and they push through that extra cover region. The connection, the timing of that shot is magnificent. And again, the question to the Zimbabwean captain today is Kandaraza is in very busy areas of the field. You've got guys who are not exactly very good fielders in Chatara and Sean Evan, who's not a bad fielder, but someone like Wellington Masakadza was quite quick. Would have been more useful in that area. And Wesley Madewere here will be ruling his luck. The two boundaries that he's conceded have been misfields.
I don't know if they're misfields. I think field placing errors is probably a slightly more accurate description of that. It's some captaincy error. Having fielders, the wrong fielders in places.
And that is a magnificent shot over extra cover. Again, shimmer down the ground, and Wesley Madewere can't quite adjust his length, and Luba is on it in a flash. And that is a real statement of that, Darlington.
That is an incredible cricket shot. He's just played two really, really wonderful cricket shots. It's Vian Luba. And I'm just at a loss of words at the moment. Because that one over extra cover was a really, really good cricket shot. And the ease with which he has executed it makes me think that I could just leave the commentary box and go and play that. How easy he made it look. So at the end of the fourth over, South Africa are 39 for 1. Skandaraza to Vian Luba, who is now on 12 off 6. Brought himself into the attack as the Zimbabwe 11 captain. Just a little bit of width. You can see Luba rehearsing that shot. He knows he should have gotten that or put that away. He just exudes the air of a batsman. He's got very high standards for himself. It's a wide from Skandaraza. I think it's those two shots that Luba has attempted to play at him, off him. He's really looking to smash it away square of the wicket on the offside. Raza is quite aware of the fact that anything that looks like width is probably going to get hit away, and that's a chance. And he's given his wicket away as Luba. South Africa suddenly 14 for 2. New batter in. It's Tristan Stubbs. And just halfway through Skandaraza's first over. And again, he's brought himself into the attack and done a job. Every single time through the one-day series, we saw him bring himself into the attack and take very important wickets at key moments. So this is what this has done. It's just opened an end. A new batter in. Wepe has been around for a while, relatively, 13 off 10. And he's looking really, really good. And then you just bring a new batter in. And the other thing that's very interesting, you see at slip, he's brought Craig Irvin into the slips. It suggests that he's thinking to himself, if I can get another wicket here, I could really try and change the direction of this pressure, which has all been against Zimbabwe at the moment. And get some of it to go against the South African A side. Really, really useful.
Absolutely. And one very important aspect of Skandaraza's bowling has been the anticipation of what the batter might want to be doing to him. And straight after those couple of deliveries that Luba sort of wanted to ask the offside, he bowled a wide down leg side, meaning he knew that he needed to cramp in for room. That resulted that catch by Rowan Bell at mid-on rather.
And at the end of the fifth over, South Africa A are 41 for 2. Wesley Madavere, just 1 over. He's replaced again by Tendai Chatara. He's also just a 1 over. Tristan Stubbs on strike. Just facing his third ball. Hello, Darlington. Welcome, Larry. Larry Kurirai just replaced Tinashe Zimbabwe.
What do you think of the ploy that's been used by Zimbabwe only in the last, well, this is the second over the power play that has used pace, but has used spin for the other 4 overs.
Well, it's Zimbabwe have been on the expensive side. So the ploy, while it was a good one, I think it's not been helped by execution. We saw Wellington Masakadza bowled wide to Ngwepe, both outside the off stump and then also outside the leg stump. And then we saw a couple of really, really good shots from last batter dismissed. But then as soon as Raza has brought himself into the attack, he slowed the scoring right down. And that is an absolute beauty from Tendai Chatara. First time he's crowned the wicket to Ngwepe, and he's got one through his defences. This game has suddenly been brought alive. And it's 42 for 3.
Certainly got the local crowd excited. And as always, if you're near Harare Sports Club, just make yourself there. Some good cricket that's being played at the moment. Earlier on, Zimbabwe were bowled out for 114, which means South Africa's target is 115. And while expensive, South Africa A are currently 42 for 3. The new batter in is the captain, Heinrich Klaasen.
Suddenly there's a whole buzz around the ground at Harare Sports Club. 3 wickets. This could go Zimbabwe's way, is the thinking. It's literally just one more wicket here could be real pressure for the South African A side. Unfortunately, there's just not enough runs on the board to create scoreboard pressure. So Zimbabwe 11 have to keep on taking wickets. So another wicket here, I think, is what Zimbabwe really, really require. That's a good one to finish off from Tendai Chatara. 1 for 6 in the 2 overs he's bowled. South Africa A, 2 for 3. Again, we see a little too straight from Wellington Masakadza. And I think he got away with it there. Tristan Stubbs on strike. Didn't really put that one away.
Zimbabwe carry on with their spin-dominated attack. Of course, South Africa also employ that quite a bit in their bowling effort in the morning. Very successful, or earlier today, very successful bowling effort. South Africa still to catch sight of Ernest Masuga, of course, who was impressive in the domestic season.
Very interesting to see where Sikandar Raza is going to introduce him. And also, we haven't seen any Tanaka Chivanga today. Being predominantly spin. 7 overs. Only 2 overs of them have been seen. Bowled by Tendai Chatara. And we're in the 7th now. And Sakadza in the 2nd. Run out chance, perhaps. A good bit of fielding from Craig Irvin. Punched it towards Wellington Masakadza, and he couldn't pick it up and return it in. So 48 for 3 after 7. See now, we're just talking about Tanaka Chivanga, and I have a direct, I'll tell you, to Sikandar Raza. Whenever I mention a name, he acts on it immediately. So bringing Chivanga into the attack from the city end. Bowled really well in the 3rd of the one-days. Took 3 wickets in an over. That is a good start. Good length, straight.
Certainly indeed. It's a player who, during the one-day series, bowled very well up front. Just when he came back for his second spell, probably struggled just a bit. With this being a maximum 4 over bowling game, maybe might not struggle with that as much.
I found it with T20s that you struggle because of the intensity. The field is a lot higher than it is in 50 overs. At the end of a 20 overs match, you can feel as drained as you would at the end of a 50 overs match, largely because the intensity in the field is so much higher. And often there aren't any hiding places in the field, as it were, because you find that a lot of your improvised shots are about finding those places where we typically used to hide fast bowlers. So that'll be sort of towards fine leg. We'll try and get the ball either side of fine leg or either side of third man to find boundaries. And so there aren't any places to hide. And I find that the intensity in a 20 overs match is high, so high that you don't actually get much rest. That wide just signaled He makes it 50 runs for South Africa in the eighth over. Partnership is just 8. Just started, really.
Kind of line and length that Tanaka Chivanga wants to bowl at Tristan Stubbs. You're talking about Tristan's just got a really elegant action. Just a question of whether it pays off in this kind of format, which is more often than not accustomed to power hitting, but we've seen the elegant shots the likes of Virat Kohli and KL Rahul.
I think it's really good technique. And I think what good technique is usually the key thing why we as batters generally try to strive towards developing what's called a good technique is it allows you to adapt to varying conditions. It allows you to play shots and play them consistently on different surfaces. So I think we just got to know that he's not under much pressure in terms of scoreboard pressure. So neither Tristan Stubbs nor Heinrich Klaasen needs to score runs very quickly. They just need 60 runs to win, and they've got about 13 overs to do it. A little over 5 and over. Absolutely no pressure, because any T20 batter worth his salt should have no difficulty scoring around 10, 12 runs and over. So there's no real scoreboard pressure against the South Africans. And at the end of the 8th over, 51 for 3.
But
A little bit more flight from Sakadza on that first delivery of his 3rd over. Stubbs has done well to get it down the ground. Then we see Heinrich Klaasen looking to make room over the offside. And he's backed away from Sakadza quite early. He was in the air for a long time. Just a little too far from Skandaraza.
it's one of the few false shots that you would have seen Heinrich Klaasen make. Is a guy who tends to hit the ball true, shows a lot of intention when he hits the ball, and as you say, just wide of Sikandaraza. What do you think of the way that Wellington has been bowling into the right-handers? Is it the effectiveness of it?
No, he's got his. For me, he's bowled a lot better at the right-handers than he did at the left-handers. He's the one left-hander he saw him seem to struggle with his lines at left-handed Uwepe, who opened the innings. So he couldn't quite find his area where he was either outside leg stump or outside off stump, and allowed Uwepe to get a couple of boundaries off him. But to Klaasen and Luba, he's been really on the money. He's been bowling it, drifting into sort of around leg stump, and then got the occasional one to turn away. That's the end of the 9th, 54 for 3. So Chiwanga is going to continue from the city end, just the 3 off his first over. That's a good length. He's balled right there.
Tanaka Chivanga really has that capability, the ability to cramp up a batter. Certainly, I think what he's got to start fixing in his game is got to have more wicket-taking balls. But in the armory, it's not a bad thing to have an armory to be difficult to get away. Because even as...
And that's his first wicket for the game. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful delivery from Tav. Short, fast, straight, and it's pulled straight to Craig Irvin at mid-wicket. And South Africa are now 55 for 4.
And just as I say that, what always one of those things where the commentators say something, says, got to get that wicket-taking ball, and what does he do with the next ball?
Right away, straight away. Runs on the board. Going to be very, very key for Zimbabwe. South Africa, requires 60 to win. They're 4 down. Tanaka Chiwanga has just taken his first wicket. And new batter at the crease is Kaya Zondo. You just get the impression that if one more wicket here, and I think the pressure is going to definitely be on South Africa, right? Whereas I think from the beginning of the game, from the beginning of the South Africa innings, we thought that the pressure definitely was on the Zimbabweans, which for not having basically made what looked like a competitive score. They've had a couple of guys bowl really, really well.
But often what happens with that is if you don't have that many runs on the board, maybe you become a little, have a lot more intensity. The margin for error becomes less, and when you have when you have very few runs to chase, you think, well, if you just keep batting, surely we should get to the total. So, in a sort of, it's a different type of the psychological war that you have when you're either defending or chasing a small total.
And the key thing is that it's easy, very easy for the South African batters to sort of meander, not really look to take charge and control of this game. And it's funny how a few balls in the right place suddenly create a whole lot of pressure. So Raza's got one, Chiwanga's got one, and Wellington Masakadza's got one. And that's a beautiful shot from Tristan Stubbs. A little too full and straight from Chiwanga. Stubbs has put it a long way in front of the fielder, a deep square leg.
And speaking about that technique, you see he just simply leaned into the delivery, and once he got connection, it went over like a tracer bullet and all the way to boundary. So again, straying onto the pads. And at the end of the 10th over, South Africa A are 61 for 4. captain Sikandar Raza bringing himself back into the attack. Good move.
He's throughout this series, and particularly the 50 overs cricket, every single time he brought himself into the attack, he took a wicket. I saw him bring himself into the attack and take a wicket in his first over. He bowled 1 wicket for just the 2 runs. Very important wicket of a really dangerous-looking Vian Luba. And I think this is probably a really sound thinking. I think he's very aware of the fact that to win this, I think Zimbabweans need another wicket here. And that's been smashed. You see the reaction from Vian Luba. He thought that should have been to the boundary. A little bit short from, sorry, that's Tristan Stubbs. A little bit short from Sikandar Raza, and he smashed it straight to Wesley Madewere. He was fielding the cow corner boundary.
I mean, certainly given the last couple of overs, looking back to South Africa A being at 48 for 3 at the 7th over, and only after that conceding just until this point 15 runs in the next 3 overs and some change. You can certainly see that the ploy sort of has worked for Zimbabwe 11 in terms of keeping the runs down and taking a wicket in that period in time. But, question again, Tendai Chatara certainly has impressed. And certainly too, the mystery behind the fact that you have Ernest Masuku in the bowling attack. If you're not really going to get him to bowl, then would you have gone with an extra batter? Or is it a case of, in this instance, it's easy to say something of that nature because the Zimbabwean batters did not perform?
Most cricket, I think, it's about picking 7 batters. Okay, 6 batters, a wicket-keeper batsman, and then an all-rounder who can bowl, who can bat. We'll discuss it more in the 12th over. 65 for 4. So as we were saying, Ernest Masuku looks like he's been introduced into the attack from the city end. First time we're going to be seeing him in the series of matches between Zimbabwe 11 and South Africa, right?
So as you're saying, the composition, so that if I'm sitting out there, I want to understand the composition of and the makeup of a T20 side, picking 6 batters, 3 seamers. Let's have a look at Ernest Masuku's first delivery.
I wouldn't say 3 seamers. I'd say you pick 4 bowlers.
4 bowlers.
Okay. And then you'd have a wicketkeeper batsman. That makes 11 players. And then 2 of your batsmen should be able to bowl. Okay? That takes up the role of the 5th bowler. And then ideally, 1 of your 4 bowlers or 2 of your 4 bowlers should be able to bat. So you have a little bit of extra firepower if you lose early wickets and that kind of stuff. And they'd be, we might call them all-rounders. But I think it's important to keep that sort of level of balance in the side. That's a good first delivery from Ernest Masuku. And he's got that through Kaya Zondo. And, so for me anyway, traditionally that's how cricket's usually been played. And there's a reason why traditions usually hold. Do you know what I mean? It's usually the most balanced way to run a cricket side. the fact that traditions hold doesn't mean that there are instances where you can't actually go with 7 batters and be short of and hope for your batters to fill in the overs that a proper bowler would bowl. But often, as I said, the consequences of that are often that your fourth bowler that's filled in by 2 batters, if they have a bad day, it can be pretty disastrous.
What you don't want is a bad day. I think Zimbabwe 11 would look at a couple of missed fields that went for 4 earlier. Take those 2 or 3 boundaries out of this, suddenly the score is a bit different. I'll tell you what, credit to the Zimbabwe bowlers. They've made a game of this. It's going to be easy to say, okay, we'll chalk this game off as saying that it's a bad day at the office, but they said, hey, let's have a go. And you never know what could happen. And that's the kind of spirit you want to have in your international cricket. It takes me back to, is it Bevan in the World Cup against I think it was against South Africa, and it looked like Australia were done and dusted. Batted well right in the end and helped his team to win the match.
Absolutely, you just got to stay in it. You can't let a bad start get in the way of playing some really good cricket. And I'm going to something I like Masuku. There's something wholehearted about the way he goes about his bowling. Really nice, flowing and committed run-up, and really tries to get that ball through to the batter at the other end. He looks to really hit the wicket. Surprised he's had a lot of success in franchise cricket. Just a little too straight, I think. And the interesting thing is, at the end of the 12th over, South Africa are 68 for 4. We saw a nice little round arm delivery from Skandaraza. He bowls that one a little every now and again. Just trying to give the batter something else to think about and work through. Sometimes he just bowls it literally just a little over shoulder height. Hopefully the idea is that it'll slide onto the batter, not bat as much as you expect. And that is that reverse sweep. Tristan Stubbs. That's really well played.
So when you look at it in hindsight, I still kind of feel like they could have used a lot more pace. Certainly, the South African batters, for some reason, have not been comfortable with the fact that the ball has been sticking and then being forced into false shots, especially when they're playing against, particularly when they play against pace. So that in the wicket of, it was taken by Tanaka Shivanga, the wicket of Hendrik Klaasen. A full toss fails to take advantage. You see this frustration in Tristan Stubbs. has a bit of a shuffle. They kind of shuffle. You said, oh, he knows he missed out there.
Nice one. Just a one from that one. Gotten 6 so far from the Skanda Raza over. Just a one ball remaining. See Kaya Zondo trying to get that away behind square on the offside. And at the end of this 13th over, 74 for 4. A little too straight again from Masuku. Hasn't quite got the line at this level right. Just, when you're bowling at franchise cricket, sometimes bowl into middle stump. And guys will not get you away every single time. You start to play against a higher quality of batter. You've got to be off stump or just outside. Because anything that's straighter than off stump, straying into middle and leg, it's always going to be runs. It's just hasn't really got his line right today. Really small margin for error.
I can see again Karazonda there. Feels that if he had cut that either side of the fielder, square, maybe a little bit more square, you could have probably gotten that ball to the boundary. But if you're South Africa at this moment with 40 off 41, rather 40, yes, 39 off 41 now, 38 off. And that's certainly not what the doctor ordered for Zimbabwe. Unnecessary, like sloppy fielding, resulting in an extra run. Zimbabwe can ill afford these kind of runs. This moment South Africa needing 37 or 39. Should be simple for them to get that sort of target.
And we see that Tristan Stubbs is thinking too here. Kaya Zondo was not interested. Really good work from between Ryan Burl and Craig Irvin. Covered a lot of ground to get to that ball quickly. Keep that down to just the one. That's a good area to bowl in.
Look at Ernest Masuga. I think if you're looking at provincial cricket when he plays, he gets away with some of that line and length. But at this level, it's just bowling a bit straight, allowing South Africa batters, quality batters out there, to sort of find those singles, because that's all they need at the moment. Don't even need a boundary, but in this particular over, they've already picked up 5 runs. Just about the run rate that is required. And of course, for Zimbabwe, a shy at the stumps, direct hit, but looks like Kaya Zondo was well in.
80 for 4. Masakadza continuing. He gets it, bowling us his 3rd over from the golf course end. 4th over, that is. 9 for 25. Rather expensive. We see Kaya Zondo reverse sweep him immediately, and he's found that gap at behind square on the boundary. He's played this shot throughout the one-day international competition very well. Saw Tristan Stubbs play it well as well. It seems to be something within their team ethos about playing this shot.
It's a low-risk shot, because what he does is he keeps it down, and in keeping it down, what you do is you eliminate the chances of you finding a fielder in the air, and you've got a lot more control over the shot when you keep it on the ground. Just sweep it on the ground, almost like a hockey shot, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the other thing it does is it tends to set the field for you, because your oppositions are always forced to have 2 fielders behind square on the offside. As long as you are playing that shot and playing it well, and then they've got to take that fielder from somewhere else, and that can create a hole into which you can find a lot of 2s, but sometimes even boundaries. It's probably just the one from that square cut from Zondo. Partnership is now 30, and in the context of this low-scoring game, this could be the most important partnership of this whole match. And that is a beautiful shot from Stubbs. Just a little too on a length from Masakadza, and Stubbs has put it away.
Yeah.
Long on.
Yeah, absolutely. Picks that early, and I think doesn't give Wellington Masakadza enough time to get a bit too cute or too clever. And knowing that he's gotten the maximum there, just punches that down. And having collected 11 runs off that over, South Africa A are 91 for 4 after 15 overs. And Tendai Shatara comes back into the attack. Bowled impressively so far. Just 6 runs off his 2 overs.
What I liked about that shot Zondo's just played, he knows where the gaps in the field are. He's made sure that it's kept it down as he's hooked it towards Ryan Burl on the deep square boundary.
So certainly when you look at the fact that it's been a low score, it means that South Africa have zero pressure to play any explosive shots, do they?
And that's a drop catch from Craig Irvin. That is going to be so important in the context of this one, because that is the wicket, that partnership I was saying was so important, becoming so important. I would have broken that partnership. And really a player of his stature and class should be taking those.
Especially after having taken one there off and taken the wicket off Henry Klaasen. Sort of like around the same position.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was a little bit harder. I think Heinrich Klaasen didn't really get hold of his one. I think Tristan Stubbs, absolutely nailed his. And, in a sense, Craig Irvin actually saved a boundary there. Because if he hadn't gotten some hand on it, I was definitely going all the way to the boundary. That's another pull shot from Tristan Stubbs. I think he's decided he's had enough of this. South Africa just need 17 from 26. And he believes he's earned the right to play his shots. He's been circumspect until 6 over long on off Masakadza. Partnership now 43. We've seen a pull shot, 2 pull shots this over from Tristan Stubbs. And that's off the toe of the bat. Goes down to third man. I saw the dismissal of Captain Heinrich Klaasen. It looked something similar to that, where he's just a little bit early on the shot. Didn't get that pull shot through with power. South Africa are 99 for 4 after 16.
One second. So nice bit of a crowd here watching the cricket. Of course, we're getting towards the end of this particular match, and got a bit of a crowd in to catch the action here at Harare Sports Club. And it's always great to see the fans. It lifts the players. It certainly makes it very competitive for the South Africans while playing in front of a crowd.
So Sikandar Raza is beginning his last over. He's bowled really well today. Just the 12 runs from 3 he's bowled so far.
So just to tell you, 4 more matches in this particular series. The second one is on the 4th of May, so that's just 2 days from now. And then we've got one on the 7th of May. That is also another match that's taking place on the 8th and the 10th of May. So a festival of T20 cricket, high quality cricket being played here, happening at Harare Sports Club. So I know schools are opening this week, so school runs become a thing tomorrow, but the match is starting afternoon.
And that's a wide from Gandaraza attempted, I think that looked like a leg spinner. Gets the South Africans over 100. And now just 10 runs required from 22 balls.
And also brings up the partnership to 50. Very aggressive partnership. Taking the Zimbabwe bowlers on. Taking on the Zimbabwe bowlers effectively. But there's been very little pressure. But for the Tristan Stubbs rather.
And another reverse sweep from Kaya Zondo. As long as there aren't two men behind square on the offside, he's going to keep playing it. He's played it really well. Got it fine. Ernest Masuku, who's at a sort of, sorry, that's Tanaka Chiwanga, who's at a sort of backward point. It's the third time we've seen him get a boundary in that area. His last Skandaraza over has been relatively expensive. He's bowled well up until here, and then that's gone over extra cover. Really good cricket again from Kaya Zondo. Really good awareness. Knows that there's no fielders out there, and if he gets a little bit of width, gets a solid contact. Just the 2 runs required now.
South Africans deciding in this particular over that you can get this match done. Just 1 ball required left in this over. So South Africa A will have to bat at least part of the next over, and after 17 overs, South Africa A are 113 for 4.
Tanaka Chiwanga is back into the attack. 1 wicket for 9 of 2. He's going to want to try and get 1 more here for the Zimbabweans. That's a little bit leg side. Tristan Stubbs brings scores tied.
Certainly a professional performance from South Africa A. Lost wickets at some irregular intervals, especially between the 5th and the 10th over, but backed themselves, knowing what they had in the hut to keep playing in order to chase down this target. Very impressive performance.
That's in the air. It looks like that's Tendai Chatara. And Kaya Zondo has got himself out. Just 1 run required for 23 of 23. 114 for 5.
not single soul having left the cricket, despite of the fact that this match is done and dusted. I think what the Zimbabwe fans would be impressed with is the bowling effort. Perhaps an extra 30 runs here may have made this match interesting, may have forced South Africa to play more shots, but to go just one more run required by South Africa.
Just not enough runs to force. So what the South Africans were able to do today is just really wait for a bad ball. You really have to try anything, because the Zimbabweans just didn't make enough runs to create scoreboard pressure. They looked up and they see that their runs required and current run race, with the run required and the current run rate, it looks like another chance perhaps, but that's the South African win. And Tristan Stubbs has done it. Got 38 off 35. Really important innings. Got the one chance. I think by then this game was probably decided. So South Africa are winners by 5 wickets, chasing down 115 in 17.4 overs.
And yes, just looking down at a very poor performance by South Africa early on, bowled out Zimbabwe for 114 in 19.4 overs, or rather 19.5 overs, I beg your pardon. Top scorer for Zimbabwe was Takuzanashe Kaetano with 20 off 15, Flyer Sikandar Raza with 16 off 15, Milton Schuber getting 13 off 12, and Richmond Mutumbadi 10 off 15, as well as Westy Madevere 10 off 10, being the other batters to get to double figures. The bowling was impressive. Clinton Sturman made for 18, took 3 for 18 from his 4 overs, an economy of 4.5. Bureaufontaine was very impressive, was 2 for 17 off his 4 overs, also at 4.25. Again, Lazard Williams, a very impressive 1 for 12 off his 3 overs, or off his 4 overs. And Karat Katsia 2 for 26, Jason Smith 1 for 22, and Reza Hendricks 1 for 9.
In the South African innings, really decent start. Reza Hendrick and Lesiba Ngwepe for a couple of wickets, brought Tristan Stubbs and Kaya Zondo together. They got the partnership that won the game. Tristan Stubbs with 39, Kaya Zondo with 23 out. 1 run required when he got out. And Jason Smith was just there to finish off. So the key for the bowling for the Zimbabweans, Tanaka Chiwanga had 2 wickets for 11 runs. Sikandar Raza got 1 for 26. Wellington Masakadza 1 for 36. And Tendai Chatara 1 for 14.
And that's that for today's cricket. Remember that you can watch the second match on this particular channel, the Zimbabwe Cricket channel. You can also follow it on the Zimbabwe Cricket app, where you can see all the action as it happens. This series taking place across the next couple of days. The second match is happening here at Harare Sports Club on the 4th. The third one happening on the 7th, the 4th one on the 8th, and the final match on the 10th. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and thank you very, very much for joining us.